Hey there, I'm Caprice. Welcome to a new edition of the Transistor Show here at K-Sun in Sun Prairie, the Sun Prairie Media Center. We are really excited today because if you've been keeping track of our episodes, most of the musicians we've had come in, one musician, one guitar, which has been fabulous. But, you know, the point of this is to have musicians and bands and people from all over the place come in and talk and play their music. So we're super excited because we have not one, not two, not three, but 4 musicians here in a band called Skyline Sound. So, hey you guys, yay! We are really excited. So just so you know, we're very hyper about the fact that there's more than one person sitting in the chair because it's going to take some pressure off of me. So, hey, for that. So what I'd like you to do, we'll start on this side and go down and introduce yourself. Tell us what you play in the band and we'll go.
My name's Dave. I play drums.
Hi, I'm Zach. I play guitar and keys, and then sometimes glockenspiel.
I'm Alyssa. I play bass and sing.
I'm Mike, and I play guitar.
So now, how long have you guys been together as a band?
With all 4 of us, it's been a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
We played our first show as a 4-piece last year in January. So.
Okay, so I kind of warned you guys when we first sat down, we're going to have the cliche questions, then we're going to have the fun questions, and I feel like we're going to have some off-the-rail questions with you guys, and I'm actually really okay with this. So going down the line again, when did you get started playing music, and how long?
Like music in general?
Your instrument or music in general, whichever one you want to.
I'm not a drummer by trade.
Mm-hmm.
Started playing music in 3rd or 4th grade on guitar, and then started playing drums a lot more out of necessity in college when we lost our drummer.
Okay.
Not like to a bad accident. We just
yeah,
went separate ways.
Thank you for clarifying
that. Got dark for a
because,
second.
Yeah, it did go, you know, with everything going on in Manitowoc right now, we might want to clarify some of the darkness going on.
Yeah, we lost him like we can't find him.
I started on piano. I guess I started taking lessons, I think, when I was like 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a while, and then I always wanted to play drums back then. And my grandma told me if I did piano, she'd buy me drums. But then that never happened. Then I got into like rock and guitar. I started playing, and then I finally got a drum kit like early high school. Convinced my parents to deal with the noise. So, yeah.
I grew up with my mom being in a family band.
Mm-hmm.
So as a young child, we were always kind of pushed into it, you know. So singing from a young age, and then in 4th grade, I started playing the clarinet and the trombone.
Mm-hmm.
Took piano when I was around like 4, and then that just kind of progressed into bass and guitar, and I played clarinet until I was a senior in high school and rocked it pretty hard.
Okay.
I got my first guitar when I was 7, I think, but I didn't take it seriously until maybe 12. We didn't have money for lessons, but my dad knew how to play, so he taught me a couple chords and borrowed me some of his books.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my learning came from chord charts of Beatles songs, Bowie songs, Dylan songs, stuff like that. And then I translated the fact that I kind of was self-taught to just hearing a song and trying to figure it out and translate it with what I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of taught myself that way. I branched out into other instruments, but you know, for this group, it's pretty much just, you know, play guitar and back her up.
You all give me hope, and this is why. My daughter is 8, and she is into music, but she's kind of, so the fact that you started younger, but then you kind of took it seriously a few years, so I'm hoping, right now it's between guitar and drums that she likes. I selfishly would really dig it if she wanted to play drums, because I think that's just badass, you know, that a little girl would want to play drums. So. Yeah. No stage mom stuff going on here. I just would really think it would be super cool. So,
well, personally, I think because I find a lot of times when you hear about people who want to play drums, and Dave is one of them, there's like a lot of oppression from parents just because of the noise of it, you know. And believe me, when you start out on drums, because my brother picked up drums when he was like, I don't know, 14 or 15. It was horrible, because it's just the same beat for like, I don't know, an hour, sloppy fills, no feel, it's just noise, horrible. So it takes a long time to polish it up, but it's one of those things where if they're allowed to be expressive, and I was lucky that way, that my parents were like, you know, go for it, do what you want to do. So I think that's really where it branches off into something more, where you end up chasing it further. Because where if it's just like, no, you're going to play a violin because it's a proper instrument, and you hate it, you're going to, you know, push it aside as soon as you can.
Well, I'm trying my best not to oppress her. And the cool thing is our drum kit is downstairs, so I can just go away.
There you go.
Get some gun muffs or whatever.
Can just go away. So now, this is one of those questions I ask everybody, because some people are and some people aren't. Do you guys make your living in the band, or do you all have other jobs that you do?
We all have other jobs, but right now, as a band, as like the business aspect, which we just actually sent a message to our Kickstarter backers, how we kind of got off and running, that we're kind of at a break even right now. All our merchandise is paid for. We have a little bit of money in the bank that we can start to invest in stuff for the future and pay for our gas to tour and things like that. So we're not getting paid from it yet personally, but as a band, we're affording our own endeavors, which is cool.
Do you guys have any jobs that would maybe surprise people if they knew that's what you do when you're not in a band?
Yes, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I think that's, when I tell people that, they're like, oh,
Right.
really?
Like,
So
what?
that's a surprising job, I think.
Anybody else?
I pour urethane molds.
Yep, okay, there you go. Winner, winner. There it is.
Yeah.
Zach's the only one that actually has a job in music. He works at a music store.
And engineer, kind of audio engineer. So yeah.
So, where can people see you? I know where you play out because I, stalked you a little bit on Facebook before you guys came here. But can you tell people if they want to see you, where they can go see you?
Yeah, we're releasing our 7-inch vinyl March 5th at Bright Red Studios. It's right on Ingersoll, downtown. And from there, we're playing, we got quite a bit of shows lined up. Playing at the Annex and the Harmony.
It's all on Facebook, SkylineSoundsMusic.com. We keep it live, we keep it active.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you guys to put that out there so people can, so say it one more time, not to be, but Skyline Sounds on Facebook.
Skyline Sounds Music on Facebook, SkylineSoundsMusic.com.
Okay, perfect. So then this is one of those questions too. So we are in Madison, and how do you guys feel the bars and the radio stations, do you feel it's a supportive network? Do you feel it's kind of certain groups are supportive? How do you feel about it? Or do you not? Or do we want? Or do we want to skip that question?
No, in general, I feel like
we can skip it.
I feel like there's pretty good support with a lot of different things. It's just that there's, many bands trying to accomplish the same thing. So sometimes it's a little overpopulated and hard to kind of get your side of things out more than,
And that's kind of, I feel that is kind of Madison's thing is there's very few venues where people can play live music, and some of those venues are a little bit like, this is the kind of music we're going to have at our venue. We're not really going to stretch it much more than that, and I think that's where the disconnect comes in. And even for bigger, for labeled musicians too, I think sometimes we don't get a lot of labeled musicians coming in and playing in Madison too for that reason, because certain venues are like, we're not going to have someone like, say, Tommy Stinson from The Replacements come play at the Kohl Center because is he going to sell that out or something, So it's, just as a person who really likes music, it's frustrating for me. So I can't imagine what it's like for you guys in a band sometimes, so.
For me, it's kind of an interesting mixed bag. Dave and I played together in a band in Racine, And in Racine, at the time, you know, as high schoolers, there are 0 all ages venues. There's 0 opportunity for young bands. I don't know if that's changed, but so we had to make our own space. We had to rent rooms at the YMCA, or you know, there's a
Coffee
church.
house.
Yeah, there was a church that was like one of those gymnasium
Yep,
churches,
yep.
kind of a thing. They would let us rent that out, but that got kiboshed pretty fast. 'Cause, you know, it was a lot of like punk shows. So, but so coming to Madison, actually having real venues with PA systems and stages and stuff, that's impressive in general. The main plea I would make is that I wish venues would be more involved with the curation of the
Yes,
shows.
I agree.
Handpicking the bands, actually listening to them and vetting them so that a club is filled with quality entertainment always, so that people just go there assuming there might be something worth seeing.
Yep.
Because otherwise, the people coming to shows are only coming because their friends in one of the bands playing, and they usually also don't even end up sticking around because it's like, oh, my friend's band is playing at 10, so yeah, I'll get there around 10, and then when they're done, I'm gonna go bar hop after that. And it's like, no, stick around because there might be something else worth seeing.
Well, that's, you know, not to be cheesy, but that's part of why we're doing this. Because I'm hoping people will see bands on the show and be like, oh my gosh, they were so good, and go at ya. So that is the goal, is to get some more message out there that there's bands out there worth seeing. And it's, you know, that's why we're doing this. So I
Well,
appreciate
we
you guys
appreciate it.
coming. Well,
Thanks
you
for
guys
having us.
we were super excited to do it. So we were talking a lot offline about pop culture and movies and music, and I was telling you guys I'm kind of excited because you all have very strong opinions about this. So I think it's going to be fun. So this is the part of the show where we're going to step away from music for a little bit. Well, we might step back in, but we'll start with music, and then we'll move to more pop culture. Okay, so down the line, everybody, I'm gonna shoot out 3 genres of music. The first band that pops in your head, it's not really, and even if it's not, no pressure. I'll start to make it easy, okay? So I'll give you a genre of music. You're gonna tell me if there's a band that you really like in that genre, like your favorite band. If you don't, you can say I don't. I've had people come in and say, I actually don't like classic country music. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So, okay, since we're talking about it, we will do classic country music. I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but I will explain why, okay? It's a two-parter. Dolly Parton, okay? Because she owns it. She owns her incredible over-the-topness. And rumor is, and whether or not this is a true rumor, I'm going to buy into it and think it's really cool. She's actually covered wrist to back in butterfly tattoos because she thinks they're really pretty, and that's something she does as a hobby. Whether or not it's true, I don't know, but it just kind of adds to her allure for me.
Well, she does always seem to be wearing long sleeve, full
Yes.
covering.
That
It's
is
like a neckline only kind of dress, yeah.
That's the rumor, and there's pictures if you Google that kind of, you know, there's like, you know, so. But also, I just think she's hilarious. I think she owns it. She knows she's over the top, so I kind of respect that. So we'll start with country music. We'll just go down the line, and then we'll do 2 more genres. So go, country music, classic.
A couple of them or just the first one?
Whatever you want to do. If you have a few, go for it.
First on my mind is probably Willie Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
Probably shortly followed by Patsy Cline or Chet Atkins.
Do you have any?
I'm not super into that.
That is fine.
I do know of it, and it's not that I like don't like it. I mean, older country music I think is good, and I've like heard parts of it that I do like. I just need to actually like explore it. I haven't really done that before. I do know of like Patsy Cline and Chet Atkins and stuff, but
There's no judging here for what you like. That's not what it's about. Okay.
I'm in a pretty similar boat to Zach.
hang out and
Yeah, we
Cool,
should hang
yeah.
out and talk about it.
just like listen to a bunch of
I am a Patsy Cline lover. Just recently I sent a band text saying that we should just become a Patsy Cline cover band.
That was when I was researching Patsy Cline.
Yeah. So
Hey, Mike, do you have anybody?
Also Patsy, and then I can't ignore Johnny Cash and the Man in Black.
There you go.
That's part of where this originated from. I've been wearing black collared shirts as a performing musician for a long time because really admire Johnny Cash for kind of breaking the mold in music in general. Yeah, my grandpa was an old country guy, so sometimes I was hearing a lot of it and never knowing where it was
Right.
coming from.
Yeah.
So, but in general, I really like that old country stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go completely on the other side of the fence. Punk.
Oh, punk. Green Day is the top of my list.
Okay. Zach,
I gotta think about it. Can you pass?
we
and
can
come
pass.
back?
We can keep going.
Man, it's a hard one.
Do we need
I
pass
mean,
tonight?
I grew up listening to a lot of like Misfits and The Clash, Ramones, that kind of thing.
I have to say the Gizmos, obviously.
Of course.
It's my uncle's band. They were one of the early punk groups out of Bloomington, Indiana, and they're ridiculous. If you look up the Gizmos, you will be shocked. Even today, you're still going to be shocked. But yeah, I mean, because of my uncle being kind of this 70s, original punk guy, so I like a lot of that old stuff. But then, I don't know, just last night I was singing The Decline to myself at work. So, no effects, and I taught myself, rock guitar to Green Day. Can't ignore that. Yeah, I don't know, pretty much all of it. I get into like some hardcore stuff like Anti-Flag or Rancid or Casualties, but then I also get into some of the like, poppier stuff like MXPX or something like that. So it's like, it's all cool.
You like it a lot.
Yeah.
Punk and pop punk is like where Mike and I grew up.
Yeah.
You guys cut your teeth on that.
I think
horn
a lot of
also.
musicians do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of
Some of us grow out of it. Some of us really sink
Some
our
of
teeth
us
in.
can stick to it. Zach, did you just come up with anything?
Well, I don't know. I see. It's kind of embarrassing. I like don't know enough artists that I should. Like I like punk music and I listen to it, but it's like I don't pay much attention to who it is. Sometimes I'll just find like playlists of it and put it on. But yeah, I mean the pop punk stuff is kind of where I came from too, but I don't like it much anymore. But when I was younger, I did like a pop punk cover band. It was all like Green Day, Blink-182 stuff. But old Green Day is really good to me. So.
I actually got to see Green Day in New Orleans, and they came out and played, when the Saints come marching in. And I wasn't, I liked Green Day, but then I saw them live, and it was just like, oh my goodness. So
They do a good live show.
they're amazing.
They're
So
all right.
They're
Very energetic.
they're pretty good. So I've been listening to a lot of classic rock lately. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but you know how you get in that, as we were kind of all alluding to, you get in that groove. So classic rock.
Beatles,
Good
by
job.
far. During the winter, I find myself listening to a lot of Simon and Garfunkel.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been kind of like rotating Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel back and forth a lot.
Zach, got anybody?
I'm a big like Black Sabbath fan. I always like that, and Led Zeppelin. Kind of classic bands, but that's what I like.
About the same?
Yeah. I don't have any
Any?
specifics.
My dad told me once that there's a perversion of the term classic rock, and that it originated from the idea of classical infusion in rock music
Okay.
with bands like Yes. So I'll say Yes because that's a classical rock band.
Okay.
Just for my dad.
Your dad
What a
just
snob.
schooled me on the
Yeah.
on classic rock.
But yeah, huge, Beatles and
Yeah.
all those other classic, bands too. But
I-
not Styx or Journey.
Thank you for that.
Nice.
I'm just kidding. Not that I'm judging, but yeah. When people are like, "I love Styx," I'm like, "Okay,
Good for you.
Good.
you won't
Great.
ever hear it on my show, but yay for you."
Yeah.
So we were talking about movies offline, and one movie in particular, and we're going to talk more about movies, but I feel that, Zach, we need to highlight what's going on with your hair and where it's coming from.
So I'm currently in the Padawan learning program in the Jedi school. No.
Enrolled in Jedi Academy
Yeah.
late
so,
last year.
Yes. So I had really long hair previously, and I couldn't resist. I had to like keep this braid or braid it, and just keep it part of the long hair. And so I thought my love for Star Wars, it would work out perfectly.
So everybody here has seen the Star Wars movie.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
More than once?
Not yet.
You could say that.
Not yet, but all one
We've seen
time.
it, yeah.
Okay.
I've seen it a few times.
Okay. So knowing the strong love of movies in general that you all have, we're gonna do it because I know you guys can handle this question because you definitely showed that offline. So, favorite teen movie?
Favorite teen movie?
Like as a teen.
Nope, your favorite teen movie. So the teen genre movie, like Mean Girls and
Oh, those. Okay.
Yeah, Fast Times at Ridgemont
Heathers.
High, and, yeah, Clueless. And
Okay, I'll try.
movies geared at teenagers.
The one that jumped to my mind when you said it, if we're doing like the psychiatrist thing, was Empire Records. Like that movie is just a classic for me.
it was pretty good. Yeah, Zach.
Mean Girls is great, but no, I don't know if it would count, but it's one of my favorite movies. Is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And
Nice.
Oh, I really like that.
amazing
Yeah,
movie, so yeah.
I think I have to skip this.
that's okay. All
My,
right.
my gut reaction when you asked us, offline is, I like your terminology there, was Can't Hardly Wait. And just because not only does it hold a place for me at the time that it came out, like the nostalgia of it, but even when I rewatch the movie, it's like, this movie is so stupid and so pointless, but it's still funny. And it's funny without being, like, it doesn't always go for cheap shots. There's a couple cheap shots, but like Seth Green's performance in that whole movie is amazing. So I think I have to stick with it.
And it's based off a replacement song, so in my mind,
There you go.
winner.
There
It
you go.
wins.
Exactly.
So what about, you guys are all very tied into music and movies and are very passionate about it. Are there any bands that you're really passionate about? Like any, not local, but bands that if you could go see that concert right now, just go. What band would that be?
I recently saw Death Cab for Cutie, and it was amazing. Cried a little. Zach and I are
I'm
gonna
going
go.
to see Metric
We're gonna see Metric pretty quick here.
and meet them.
Meet them and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. Dynamite?
David.
I remember in high school, Paul McCartney was doing a tour, and my family and friends were talking about going, and they're like, yeah, the tickets are like $120. And I was like, who the hell would ever spend, I mean, it'd be awesome to see Paul McCartney, but who the hell would ever spend that kind of money? Fast forward that to Weezer doing the Memories tour. The one thing I always wished was like, man, if I could just see Weezer when Pinkerton came out, that would be like the dream come true. And then the Memories tour, they're like, all right, the first night we're going to play the Blue Album front to back, and the second night we're going to play Pinkerton front to back, and my head exploded. And I was like, yeah, that's it, that's the dream. And I spent like $500
Of course.
on a two-night event.
That was the same price as the Weezer cruise where they did that same thing. You could have gone on the cruise.
I hate the ocean, but but I got to meet the band and autographs and cool stuff like that, and but it was like a religious experience. So Pinkerton is my all-time favorite record, and Blue Album is a high-ranking album in anyways, and so that was great.
So
Worth every penny.
you might retract your statement about who would pay $120 for Paul McCartney.
Now I get it, because when that opportunity for like your dream scenario pops up, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't know if I've got one right now. I think Doc Brown would have to kind of screech up in the DeLorean and take me to like a different time to like kick a few more off my bucket list.
Right.
Go to, like,
most
the
of them I've
Hollywood
gotten
Bowl.
like if I had one band that I think I would have a good time no matter what, I think probably Fountains of Wayne. If they came to town, I know it would be a good time.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. You guys all have such eclectic music, which I think is really awesome. Is there any bands out there that you're like, no, if the song comes on, it goes
Toby
off?
Keith.
That was so immediate, Mike. You're like, yes.
Nickelback.
I'm sorry?
Nickelback?
Fair,
Oh my God.
okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I would second that.
I have to like think about a Nickelback song. I don't even know. I'm sure I.
Look at this
Okay, there you go. I got it now.
You know, the thing about stuff like that is they might not even be the worst band in the world. And I'm sure they're talented in their own rights, and I have not delved into their collection, but I know their radio hits. But what stands out to me is my mom one time had brought up something about one of their songs, and I was like, Mom, are you serious? And her favorite band is Aerosmith, and she's also a huge Kiss fan. And I was like, Mom, let's put it in this perspective. Is the best Nickelback song, does it even come close to just a average cut on an Aerosmith record? Well, no, that's Aerosmith. And I said, exactly. Just because it's the best melody and beat on the radio right now doesn't make it a great song or a great band. It just makes it what's available. And that in itself is kind of sad, because as she mentioned, Death Cab for Cutie is a great example of one of the most brilliant bands, both as musicians, as lyricists, songwriters, you know, arrangement, depth, and artistry. And they're not like a mainstream group. That should be the most popular band on the radio. And I don't know why it's not. It doesn't make any sense to me, but it's like, just because it's there is why most of these popular bands maintain their popularity.
Well, we had Jay Matthews was one of our first musicians that came in, and we had that same conversation that sometimes it's kind of sad how that works. Like the bands that really you should be hearing a million times on the radio because they're just that brilliant, you don't because of whatever. So yeah. Well, on that note, I hate to do this to you guys, but I don't hate to do it because it means another part is coming. We're going to wrap up the interview part, and you're going to come back and you're going to play for us, which I think is just going to be super exciting. So this has been Skyline Sounds. They have been gracious enough to sit down and chat about music and movies and different things. They're going to come back in a little bit and play for us. So stick around. You're watching the Transistor Show with Skyline Sounds.
Hey, we're Skyline Sounds. This song is called Dimensions. We better hope it's not a sign. If this is the new year, go back in time. It'd be better if you could write this. My thoughts got lost, but I'm still here. Take a hit, sit this one out. I need it somewhere else. Is it still me? Who follows through all of your reality? Up all night with separate meanings. It's exactly what you think it is. But it's not lost. Find what's strength to carry on. Is it still me? Who follows through all of your reality? song is called I'd Like to Say I Miss You.
David?
Ready? Tie my heart into knots, browse through connection, hardly feel my stomach eat my heart. I'd like to say I miss you, but I wouldn't want to get your hopes up. I'd like to say I miss you. Tie my tongue into knots. I can't find much to say to you, so here I rest. I'd like to say I miss you, but I wouldn't want to get your hopes up. I'd like to say I miss you. I'd like to say I miss you, but I wouldn't want to get your hopes up. I'd like to say I miss you. I'd like to say I miss you, but I wouldn't want to get your hopes up. I'd like to say I miss you. Transplanting?
I screwed up on that one, like a lot. We should probably
Good
do
one,
that
Dave.
again,
Can you take a
if we can.
switch it?
But now that we've done it, I wouldn't screw it up again.
Actually, good.
This next song is called Transplanting.
We got Mo Beats then,
Mo Beats?
Mo Beats, Mo props. 1, 2, 3.
There isn't a song worth singing that I might conjure up for you. But still I'm trying again. No, I can't pull you away from the ground you've grown into. I guess I'll have to get used to it. Sometimes I dream of transplanting your heart into me. Beautiful.
What's next?
Will never be. All of these songs can be heard on our newly released album,
Except that first one.
except that first one. That's the new for you.
For the new album.
The new. Ready?
Yeah.
Who starts?
Count us in, someone.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We can't tell what is permanent with you. I know what can. I'm losing myself in this. I'm losing myself in this. Forget who we are. Let's talk about who we want to be. Forget who we are. Let's talk about who we'll never be. Find a moment of inspiration, even though it seems it's all lies. Fool myself, stick with it. I love a distorted reality. Forget who we are. Let's talk about who we want to be. Forget who we are. Let's talk about who we'll never be. Forget who we are. Let's talk about who we want to be. Forget who we are. Let's talk about who we'll never be.
I feel like I need to tell you guys we are clapping back here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is this yours now?
Yes.
What song are we doing?
This is our last one,
No. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
and this is
Here to try
called
that.
Face to Face Me. We filmed a music video for this, so if you ever want to see us floating in a room of curtains, you should check that out.
It's on your vinyl, too.
It's also on our vinyl that we are releasing on March 5th. So, it's pretty. Ready?
Yeah.
Pretend with me that you won't find me face to face me. Now the lights are blue, reclaim my
Thanks for watching. We're Skyline Sounds, and this is the Transistor Show.